Welcome back to the Elle-Sera podcast, and today's guest is Piers from Hyde Hare. So me and Piers connected because his girlfriend actually watched me chat rubbish at a LinkedIn event. And I must have left a little bit of an impression on her because she went home and told Piers, oh, you should connect with this girl. And we chatted, and then he introduced me to his brand, which is Hyde Hare, and I'm a big fan of it. I've been a big fan of it ever since. So thank you so much for joining me today, Piers.
Yeah, thanks so much. Super excited to be on.
So tell me a bit about you and your background.
Yeah, so I suppose I fell into e-commerce quite young, at 13 or 14, the kind of normal way that teenagers do, buying and selling shoes on eBay. I used to sell kind of Gucci shoes, buy them at £50, used to sell them at £200, which meant I didn't really have to get a Saturday job. And I think that was kind of my background, my entrepreneurial background growing up. Kind of loved doing it, loved the passiveness of e-commerce, and went away to uni after that, did property. Decided after 3 months in London, it just wasn't the right thing for me. Just writing reports all day wasn't really giving me any form of fulfillment. So I went away to Kenya for a year and worked on a safari lodge, which is the most amazing experience, and just completely had a break from the reality of what a 9 to 5 was. Everyone was kind of slogging it in London and doing the kind of mundane reports all day. Came back to the UK and really kind of wanted to set up an amazing brand. I think for me, I got into interiors and into Hyde Hare. My mum was an interior designer growing up, and my dad was a landscape designer. So we always kind of had a beautiful exterior and a beautiful interior. But the drawback of that was that we lived in 10 houses over 12 years. So my parents would do up a property, buy it up, do it up really nice, and then sell it. So for me, I never really had like a consistent home growing up, but the beauty of it is mum did the interiors basically in the same scope as it's all very Danish, all very Hugo, very Scandi, very minimalist, really invested in good quality textures and materials and fabrics. So for me growing up, I didn't really have a home, but that home became that kind of look and feel, that kind of Scandi Hugo vibes. And after kind of getting back from Kenya, I was thinking kind of, what can I do? What inspires me? And for me, there was that brand that's missing in the UK market, which is just uber cozy, uber Scandinavian, very, very sustainable, in line with the seasons, and just a beautiful kind of like natural way of living. So I founded Hyde Hare about 5 years ago off the basis of that, and just really wanting to bring a brand to the UK market, which kind of matched that sustainable and natural kind of look and feel that everyone I think is looking for in this kind of moment.
No, I completely agree. So that's something I've been a bit more conscious of. Probably when I bought my house with my partner, when we did that, I put in like all Berber wool carpets and things like that.
Yeah.
And I was definitely more conscious of, even though we've got 3 kids in the house, which is a factor, to be honest, because you just want something that's like a plastic table that you can wipe while the kids throw paint on it, you know. But in the adult living spaces, yeah, there's very much more a drive towards natural fabrics, which I think is important, especially in a world with polyester, plastic and everything. You want to get that out. Can't be good for your health either.
No, for sure.
Yeah, where I'm sitting with it. Okay, so you came back from Kenya. Well, how was that experience?
Amazing. I think Kenya opened up a lot of possibilities for me. We went in about April 2020 when it was a mass like ivory burning. So the Kenyan government had confiscated all the ivory that had been taken off the poachers, and they had hosted a huge kind of black tie event in Nanyuki, which is where in the north where a lot of the lodges are. We had a lot of celebrities staying with us, like Leonardo DiCaprio, Liz Hurley, and a few of those kind of Michelle Obama's, Michael Bloomberg's as well, to celebrate the kind of what I suppose raise awareness of the ivory poaching industry and kind of sustainability in that sense. So we had those kind of guests living and staying with us, which was like a really eye-opening opportunity to kind of like travel, go on game drives with these kind of amazing, inspirational people. The idea for Hyde Hare, I suppose, came from, in a way, Liz Hurley in part, because in one of the lodges which we were staying at, there was a shop which would sell these kind of beautiful handmade cowhide accessories. And like growing up in the Cotswolds and in Gloucestershire and that kind of country part of the world, everyone does love cowhide, but no one really does it well. And And this shop would basically have loads of Americans, Germans, say really kind of affluent people stay. And they'd sell out of these cowhose accessories within like a week of getting them in. And I just kind of thought that, you know what, I've always loved this kind of natural materials and it ties in with the hygge lifestyle. Why not have a go at kind of creating a fashion brand? So I came back to the UK, started a fashion brand. It went really well, but it never really had the scalability. So that's when we kind of introduced the kind of interiors part about 2.5 years later, at which point Hyde Hare kind of grew really, really quick. As kind of those products have a lot more demand for. Everyone kind of wants those soft looking interiors, whereas fashion brands are probably harder to grow organically.
Unless it's fast fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not just, I totally agree. It's difficult unless you're getting to an age where you're like 40, 50 plus, where I see it with my parents' generation. They're just invested in more quality stuff. I've got an eye on it these days, but the younger market, they're just like wear a dress once and they're just not really interested in that.
Yeah.
So it is difficult to grow a slow fashion brand.
Yeah, especially when you're doing it all yourself. And I literally had no money at all.
That was my next question, actually. So talk to me about how you started the business, because it's one thing going on like GoDaddy and buying a website, but that is not a business.
No.
How do you actually, tell me about the story of you starting the business. Where did your first bit of money come from?
So we started with kind of like £3,500 of savings, and my mum kindly put in 3.5 to help match that. And that kind of got our first stock order. But as you know, like 7,000 really doesn't buy you much. It hardly even meets your kind of supplier's minimum order quantities. And then you're thinking packaging and you're thinking fulfillment and you're thinking everything else. So I think the reality was that we packed on the kitchen table for the first 18 months. We had a horribly overgrown storage unit, which we store the products in. And then you do it with no budget, no luxury packaging, but you could add those. I think the benefit of doing that is you get to know your customer and you can add little touches which don't cost money. A handwritten card is so cheap to produce because you've just got a bit of paper. We didn't invest in the ribbons, we didn't invest in the luxury packaging, but people actually appreciated those kind of small business touches probably way more than they actually appreciate the kind of luxury packaging experience, because you're actually I suppose adding value to them, making them feel wanted. So I think that the Hyde Hare started with that, and we just kept everything in the business. 7,000 turned to 14,000, 14,000 turned to 28. But then we ran into a lawsuit with quite a big brand that's now actually gone bust. You can name them
if you want.
Well, they've been bought by Next.
Oh, right.
They're Jules.
Right, okay,
anyway, we had a hare on our logo. So the Artisan of Hyde Hare used to be the hare in the shape of like an and. Anyway, I got in a lot of trouble for that.
A trademark dispute.
Yeah, because we couldn't afford the IP.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford the trademark. So we had to bin all of our packaging, which we just invested in. And then when you're like...
I mean, did you go back at them and even say anything?
Yeah, we did. I sent it to a friend's mum who was a IP specialist, and she said, don't even bother, because they've got 6 pages of other tiny brands that they've done this to.
Well, I can tell you a story about me and Elle magazine if you want.
Yeah.
So they had also done this to even people with the first name Elle.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, not having it. Like, not having it at all. I was like, no, my logo looks nothing like yours. And I'm called Elle-Sera, not Elle. So whatever, I'm not having it. So anyway, they carried on being very aggressive, change your name, do this, do that. No, wouldn't do it. 2 years later, still not agreeing. But we're coming to kind of a bit more of an agreement. And in that time, so my solicitor was saying, it's now giving you can sell your stock in that time. If you argue it long enough and protract it long enough, you could have got rid of that stock.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was only because I had a really traumatic birth that I actually thought, fuck this, I'm not agreeing to anything. No, and that was it. I just ripped up the piece of paper and I said, whatever, go to a tribunal.
Yeah.
And they rescinded at that point. But
at the point that you went to, or after?
No, they just said, okay, we withdraw.
Yeah.
And that was it. So I didn't have to change anything.
Yeah.
But it still cost me, I think actually in the end, it cost me overall with everything, last fees involved was 19,000. But the point was I needed to argue long enough to get rid of the bulk of my stock. That was my point.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with your friend's mum.
Yeah.
But what I would have done is really I would have really drawn it out.
I actually think it's a good design because I think at that point the brand was too country.
Okay.
And it was too much in that country market. So just making it a bit more simple and having an Artisan and kind of making it more clean was actually a bit of a blessing in a way.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, yeah. Listen,
and these things happen for a reason.
Of course. And do you know what? You're not massive. You're not this absolutely huge brand like Apple where it's got this really distinctive logo at that time. So yeah. And that's why if I had to have changed it, I was like, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
You know, so, okay. We've all been through. That's a rite of passage, I believe, having a trademark dispute.
Yeah, it is. I think it is. I think it means you're going somewhere.
For sure. Okay, so you had to bin all that packaging.
Had to bin all the packaging, had to basically start again, do stock orders. And when you've got kind of limited funds, packaging is like a luxury to have. Like I think our packaging costs around £3, £4 just as a magnetic box. And then you've got dust bags, then you've got printed ribbon, then you've got barcodes. I mean, the list goes on of like all the marketing material you have with your logo on. So we kind of had to burn it, start again.
That would have been a great piece of content.
It would have, but I'm not sure. I think Jules would have reopened stuff. I started a video with a bonfire burning all the packaging. But,
I know, but hey, I would have done it.
Yeah,
you know, I definitely would have done it. I would have had a big bonfire.
Yeah,
but you know, listen, you live and learn. I've just and you say you live and learn, but I have just bought a load of packaging. Not our fault actually. And I can tell you that it's a significant amount we've invested in this packaging and it's all got to go in the bin.
Really?
So I'm nearly 4 years down the line. We're still making mistakes.
I think these things are just part and parcel of having an e-commerce business that you're always firefighting something.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you start the business and then it starts growing. And then what became like some of your hero products? Could you see things that you thought you were going to be big sellers, but actually other things started selling?
Yeah, true. I think our one of our best-selling products now, we've actually done a huge project for an interior designer called Rita Koenig.
Right.
In the Hamptons, we sold kind of 30 to 40 of our beanbags. And our sheepskin beanbags are, I think, one of my favorite products. They are so incredibly comfy. We were talking about our Christmas photo shoot back then. You can kind of really ooze into those kind of cozy corners in them. They're made in England. They use 10 whole sheepskins to make. And they are our best-selling product. Because they're made in England, they're around 745 or 795.
Yeah.
So incredibly expensive. And the reality was that we didn't think we were going to sell many. And we didn't sell many for the first 3 months, but now we sell a lot to all top interior designers.
Yeah.
And we work with kind of like 5, I suppose the big 5 in London.
Yeah.
All with these like beautiful beanbags in different colors and now got different shapes and sizes. So I think it's become a bit of a hero product that we're known for, because when you have a product like nearing the £1,000 mark, I feel like it's a bit of a aspirational product. And it's kind of put us into a different market compared to our competition. And having worked with interior designers kind of stuff, I think it's my hero and our favorite product.
What is your route to market? Because obviously you've got a D2C shop, direct to consumer shop, where I could go on and go and buy a few bits and bobs for the house. But where do you see it going? Do you see you're going to funnel a lot more into that? Or do you think it's better to work with the interior designers and you're going to push that?
Yeah. So based on the fact that we've done so much this year, which we'd never really put in our business model about doing B2B, based on the fact that all these interior designers have come to us, we've got a whole kind of furniture range that's coming next year. And then that goes to like a new level of price point, just because furniture is incredibly expensive to make in England, upholstered in England. So you kind of armchairs or chaise lounges or ottomans at kind of around the 2,000, 2,500 price point, which isn't actually that bad if you look at kind of a lot of Rosie Unack and those kind of pieces. People are charging kind of 8,000, 9,000.
Honestly, no, you're not wrong. I was looking at sideboards. I was actually looking at bedside tables. I can't remember what the shop was. A Sweet Pea and Willow it might have been.
Yeah.
And it was like $3,000 for one bedside table. I was like, are you for real?
Yeah.
It wasn't even like,
I don't think that,
it wasn't even like craftsmanship. It was just like something and nothing. It was a joke, to be honest. So for a nice quality piece of furniture that you've handcrafted, all the rest of it,
and it's going to be in a fibre quite similar to this. So this is probably polyester, but it mirrors that kind of boucle. I don't know if you saw, like I went to Maison Objet about 2 years ago, and everyone's using this kind of lovely boucle style of material. But we're going to use shearling, which is kind of natural wool. It's still very short hair, and it kind of mimics this look and feel. But it's natural, so it's softer. It's more sustainable. It's warmer. It's cleans itself. It's hyperallergic. It's such a brilliant fiber wool. So our range is going to encompass kind of a lot of shearling, and then we're going to do a few bits in the kind of our natural cowhide as well. So
how is it at like, obviously these chairs get like used, and this one in particular has got loads of jean marks on it because it's like cream. So like if people are wearing jeans and there's, have you noticed this, Calvin, by the way? Have you not? Every time I come, I think, oh God, someone's had dark jeans on here.
yeah.
So is it easy to clean? That's the main thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it cleans itself. I think all you need to do, we now just introduce sheepskin brushes, which we include with every single order. So if anyone orders a sheepskin rug, a Berber rug, we include kind of all the care guides inside and just a brush as well. And all you need to do is kind of brush it out once a month.
Okay. Okay. So you started the business. You've then had a bit of a dispute with Jules. Okay, that's fine. So what other obstacles? I know from running an e-commerce business, there's many. But what other obstacles have you come up against, especially with scaling and growing?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing with scaling is that people don't realize how much capital you need to really run a business. I think I'll be open here. We have to do 50,000 a month just to break even. And that's without me paying myself a salary.
Yeah.
But that's because we're trying to go for growth and we're trying to grow the business. But the reality is that when you're bootstrapped, which means you've got no funds at all, you've not got any debt, and you've not done any previous raises, it's incredibly hard to manage the cash flow. And I think incredibly hard to grow when you have to be so careful with everything. So, for example, we really want to launch on Pinterest and start doing Pinterest campaigns, but it just doesn't align with our budgets. Everything's kind of signed off for Q4, and we're working with kind of small amounts of money and getting great returns. But I think it's really hard when you've got so many ambitions, you've got so many new products you want to do, you've got so many routes to market, and you've got people that, like competition, like we discussed, like the White Company, that can just do what you do and release what you want in a matter of probably months.
Well, they've lost a lot of customers recently, though, because they've just moved warehouses, and that caused them a nightmare.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that I have not purchased about 3 or 4 times every time I've been on the website. I thought, I still got that problem with that warehouse, I'm not buying.
Yeah.
And
okay.
So I know that's going to be hurting them, because there must be loads of people like me who are like, oh, well, I'm not going to order that.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? So, that they must be feeling a bit of a pinch. So, and your products are obviously, they're not like, these are like once in a lifetime products.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that necessarily we need to, our products, we can't just kind of turn around in 30 days. It's like a case of tanneries, it's a case of buying the wool, and then it's a case of tanning them. It's often kind of 4 to 5 months. So we can't just kind of turn products around on a whim, like probably like majority of brands like the Sheins and those lot can, but we don't really want to go into that market. We really want to go into like a natural, sustainable, aspirational brand that is different to the White Company, because we like to be seen as the authoritative brand in that kind of sustainable space, in this natural fiber space. So all these brands like the Cox and Cox, the White Company, they all do sheepskin, they all do cowhide, but they're very probably complementary add-ons to their existing core lines. White Company are known for candles,
which are probably which are probably imported anyway.
Exactly, yeah, and when they're complementary add-ons, they don't have a very good range of colors. They don't have a very good kind of depth of understanding of the fibers, and it's all very kind of quick win with these brands. But it is a lovely complementary product to have. But we really want to be the authoritative brand in that space and have the best quality product, have the best quality fibers, have the best quality range. And
I think there is a big trend towards slow living now. I'm seeing it a lot more and more. And if you can tap into that market, I think we'll definitely a lot more slow living. I see loads more posts about that, about slowing down. And that's becoming a real big trend. This toxic productivity is actually not the way to go, even though I'm probably one of the most toxically productive persons you could ever meet at the moment. I have got to be.
So is that stemming from just incredibly busy work-life balance?
Yes, exactly. So I never knew how much time I had until I had a child.
I remember you saying that on Instagram last week. Yeah,
absolutely, Joe. It's just ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like this morning, I'm like, I've got to be up at 7, right? Sort her out. Then it's like I've got 15 minutes before childcare arrives to get myself ready, get everything done for the day, like get in the car, try and go to the gym, Do you know what I mean? Try and get all my meetings in before I do the pod, and just every day is like there's no time. Even when I have like my hair blown to come on the podcast, that's my time to do emails. And a lot of time I spend driving, and every time I'm in traffic, which I know is awful, but I'm always doing an email or text or whatever, or a voice note back to somebody. There's not a time where I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Just sitting there and looking around. Never.
Yeah. But is that quite hard to manage, would you say?
Yeah. Like, I hate it. I get sloppy. And then I'll start doing something and then think, shit, I've got to do that.
Yeah.
That'll then take precedent, and then I'll stop doing what I was doing before. And yeah, it's sometimes can be counterproductive. And the things that I really want to do, which is like go to the gym, which is the only one time where I can take my brain out, have my PT tell me what to do. I don't need to think about anything else. That is the one thing that I have to sacrifice. I don't get to really go anymore. So I said in the office last week, I was like, no, I'm not doing it, because that is my 1 hour where I'm not a mother or a business owner and no one needs to get hold of me.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, that's it. 1 hour. That's all I want. And it's not even every day. It's like 3 times a week max. Do you know what I mean?
But with the knowledge that your life is crazy busy and you say you hate it, would you change your business in any way? Would you change the way that you are today? Yes,
I think definitely need to strengthen the team and delegate more. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I have started doing that in the last couple of weeks. I've been like, there you go. Do you know what I mean? And then I want to just sit in a role. And also, I think as a business strategy, I need to get myself out of the business.
Yeah.
Because you can't exit a business if you are like in total control of it.
Yeah.
So if I ever do want to leave the business in capable hands somewhere else, which I know I definitely could, you need to like kind of work on the business, but be out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm too much in it.
Yeah.
Facilitate too much. But it's hard, isn't it? You know yourself, you're probably doing all the same jobs. You're wearing all the hats. You're the FD.
Yeah.
You're the one who has an eye on forecasting, on stock levels, on buying new stock, on designing new packaging, on orchestrating. Like you just told me you did all your Christmas shoot.
Yeah.
That doesn't just happen.
No.
So you've got to design the shots. And even if you work with a stylist, you've got to go and find that stylist. Do you like their style? Then you've got to get a location. Have you got all the right kit? Do you need
organising the vans for the delivery, for the pickup, for the warehouse,
exactly.
Like everything. Yeah.
Do you need a model?
Yeah.
Catering. Are we going to be there all day? Do we need food? Do we need? It's like everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
completely.
Yeah. And people think
it's all consuming. I'm glad I did my business when I started it when I was in my 20s. I'm 31 now, so like I think I got used to it, but I probably would change a lot more. But it comes down to, I suppose, we've got no debt and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
And I love keeping in control of certain things, love the look and the brand, the feel, and I kind of want to still be in charge. But I think, as you say, you want to be a business owner, not a business operator.
Yeah. I mean, my partner, who's the absolute opposite to me, he's the visionary, but then he would put everybody in place and they do it.
Yeah.
And then it's on them to do it. And he would just mop up and make sure they're all doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely great. I don't know, because the problem is he says that I'm great at knowing what I'm not good at. He knows he's so incompetent in some areas, so he doesn't even want to try.
Yeah.
I'm like probably too competent. So then I feel like I have to do it. Do you know what I mean? And then for me, it's a lot of like reading books on stuff that no one in the office is interested in. So a lot of our social media posts will stem from a book that I'm reading or something that I think is trending at the moment, or I'll go and find, extra reading on a topic. They're not going to sit in the office, even if I make them. Can you go and read that heavy text on magnesium for me? Because they're not going to understand the terminology at all. And they're going to just give up and go, oh, no, sorry, I'm not doing it. So then it all falls to you. And then, so all the social media content's got to come out my head, and I'm doing 100 million other things. And they're going, can we sit down and film something? I'm like, I can't even remember what I'm about to say. Apologies for interrupting this podcast, but I need to ask a favour. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, then please hit that subscribe button right now. I'll be straight up and honest that I want to see this podcast grow and flourish into something that I'm really proud of. And the only way that I can do that is with your help. So if you've ever learned anything useful from these conversations, then please return the favour by liking, rating, subscribing, and maybe even sharing it with your friends. Thanks very much. Let's get back to the episode. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person who has to sit down and film something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. And then I've got to go home and think, oh, I've got to be a mum now. Oh shit, I've not bought anything for tea. Oh no, right. Do you know what I mean? And then go into that mode.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It is tough. And I'm not whinging, because if you weren't growing, and I'd imagine you're growing and we're growing, it'd be even tougher.
Yeah.
That's, because it's one thing when you're looking at the top line and money's coming in, but it's quite another when you're looking at the bottom line thinking, shit, we need to make some savings and cuts here because we haven't got any cash flow coming in.
Yeah.
And that is a horrible place to be.
Yeah.
I've been there quite a couple of times, and I've been like, shit, what can we do now?
Yeah.
Especially because, I don't know, the market is tough. I truly believe in, a lot of people say you just need to scale through Facebook ads. And I have sat here and argued this point with everybody. I don't know if you do it.
We can't make money on Facebook.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just pointless. It's literally pointless. And I say this to every agency who goes, you just haven't got the right agency. So then I get a new agency and they just say, you need to spend more. And I'm like, I just don't believe that people's attention are there for this type of product or my type of product. I believe that long form content is better.
Yeah.
I believe that personal recommendation will win the day. Because I know if I told some of my friends, and I've got loads of them, who would be interested in your products, I'm going on a clear pigeon shoot in a couple of weeks. Everyone there would be interested in your products, and I will bring it up at that time. And I'll say, you've got to listen to this podcast and you should go and buy these products. That's a personal recommendation. And I guarantee you'll probably get at least one new customer.
Yeah.
Maybe not, maybe all of them, by saying that. And most of our customers come from personal recommendation every time, because I know when girls get together and have a coffee, they go, you need to try these golden pills. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. All our celebrities that have come on board have all come through one of their friends' personal recommendation. We've never paid anybody. We've never asked anybody to post anything for us. And that is all strong organic growth. But then you've got other people in e-com who solely build their business through just doing Facebook ads and do it really well, but it's not for me.
I think there are certain things that you could probably leverage quite well is in UGC content. So you getting in front of a video and saying, I'm the founder, this is why it makes it different, this is their USP. And I think those kind of personal videos probably do work on Facebook. But I think what we found is that we did our first major campaign shoot when we knew the interiors was going to do well. We created the most beautiful kind of cozy content. I mean, models and log fires and a huge country house with the most luxury cashmere and everything. I mean, the whole scene and the setting was amazing. We ran out on Facebook ads, and no one wants to see that kind of really pretty campaign led stuff. It just doesn't convert. People want to see authenticity. People want to see like the founders. People want to see like the USPs, the behind the scenes, all those kind of things actually way outperform kind of beautiful, pretty brand content. And as someone who does it really well, it's like Trini Woodall, I think from Trini's London. Her long form content is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I know that she's turning over 52 million a year. So she's
my
doing it really well.
Loves her. He says she pisses me off because she does it so well.
Relentless.
She's so good.
She's just been in New York. I think she's straight off the plane and doing content again.
Yeah, she's so good, but she's a TV background. Yeah. She's got that personality. Yeah. Fair play to her. I wish I had a bit more of what Trini's
I wonder how these people have time for their families. They're relentless with their Instagram, relentless with their businesses. It's like, I often wonder how you get such good work-life balance in terms of she always seems to be there, always doing stuff with her kids there and always just being there.
Maybe she just nails it in one take. For me, it would take me 6 hours. Genuinely, it would take me all day to do that. And even just to like get my hair and makeup done so I might feel comfortable, for even to do a video. Yeah. There's so many times where I've done that, or I've like, I'll film that content for you. And then I'm like, no, I look like shit. And I've got the baby in the background. I'm not doing it. So it is difficult. I don't know how they do it, but I don't know. Maybe if I put more effort into it, I would see more return.
Yeah.
So we've gone around the ads here talking about D2C, but so in your opinion, what is the best way to grow a D2C brand?
I think authenticity, and it's something I certainly don't do enough. It's putting out organic content. It's putting out being really vulnerable and just getting behind the scenes as a founder, behind the scenes stuff, founder to founder, going to networking events, like you say, and just opening up to as many different channels as possible. I think people often don't look at LTV, so like lifetime values of customers. And then you as a subscription-based business, like it's probably absolutely key. You acquire a customer for X, and you know after 2 years that customer's going to be spending X with you. So I think acquiring as many customers as you can, like in a good CPA, so good cost per acquisition, and then just nurturing those customers as much as you can, keeping them in the loop.
You're not wrong. And I think it's something that's very overlooked with most brands, is something that we really double down on. So we nurture our customer. So it's good to go to networking events with other founders, which is really good. But I find sometimes I go to these D2C live events and the e-com events, and mainly it's just run by tech brands.
I totally agree.
And
they just want to add to your tech stack.
They just want to add to your tech stack. Oh, we can do this. We can personalize the page for that kind of person. Or we can do this. We can do that. And then you end up with so much tech. And I almost feel like I'm prey and they're like vultures sometimes at these things.
Yeah.
So I tend not to go to them much anymore. But what I do is we reward the customer. So we gift our customers loads with branded products. We want them to wear our products, go out and be proud of them. We've just done a load of Pilates socks, which are gifting next year. We've just
So when you say gift, you just include them with a complimentary add-on?
Yeah. So if they've got a subscription, and if they've had a certain number of subscriptions.
It's easy to do when they've got a subscription, isn't it? Because you don't have to then pay for postage, I suppose. You have to just
add it in.
It's easier, but that's a great way to do it.
And we've just done these amazing jumpers. So if you've had so many orders.
Are they wool? Are they wool jumpers?
They're not, actually. They just look cool. But yeah, so they're more like just like sweatshirts, you know what I mean? Like gym going, because I wouldn't imagine wool would be any good to go to the gym in.
No, probably not.
So they're more like as part of the lifestyle.
Yeah.
We've just done Pilates socks, like I say. We've just done a journal that's coming out in January. Again, we want to reward our customers because they're the ones that actually build the business.
Yeah.
And I don't want to reward anybody else.
Yeah.
Because nobody else builds our business apart from them. I can tell you that for free. It doesn't matter how much I've spent on agencies and brand managers and marketing managers and people who want to do the best creative and overspend. They'll never do it as good as my women. Never.
No, true. And that's the most authentic probably way to grow a brand, and it's adds value more than anything else would.
Yeah.
I also think the modern day way to probably grow a brand is not doing traditional PR. We've spoken about this, about how expensive PR is. For a small brand like me, there's just no way that we can afford 10,000 a month for a PR that gets us all in the magazines, because then you just float it in terms of like, they're saying, oh, if you pay for this and you pay 20,000, you're going to get 80,000 pounds in sales.
No,
they're not looking also at like, oh, but we don't have 80,000 pounds of stock because we already know we're going to sell it. So why would we do that? So I think it's a lot harder for small brands, but I think the modern day PR is brand collaborations. In my sense, we've just done one, two with a brand called Calcutt Manor down in Gloucestershire and another brand called Bedfolk, and they have combined 130,000 followers, and it cost us probably a little bit in terms of creating the content and giving away the prize, but that gave us 2,500 new Instagram followers, and it gave us probably 1,000 new email signups. And that's the way to kind of,
I say, is a
more sustainable way to grow, because we probably spend on average about £200 a day on Facebook because it's a necessary part of our kind of like e-commerce
marketing mix,
retargeting, all that kind of stuff. But the cheaper and more sustainable way to do it is brand collaborations. And people see brand collaborations as great, like White Company do it with Bamford, for example, and it's just like you see those two brands combine, you're like, what a great collaboration. And I think that's the modern day PR. Is kind of PR tends to maybe fade out. Certainly print does in the next couple of years.
I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head. I've got a couple of girls that come into mind that I think would be good for you. I'm thinking your cashmere socks.
Yeah.
You should do like a little range of them, maybe for a specific person. And then, because I know this lady in particular, and she's just bought a house in the Cotswolds and she's doing it up and made a little account. She is great. She's been to one of our events. Oh, no, I'll mention her. She's called Cleo. She's absolutely great. And she's perfect for you. She's like really, her house is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very much your style. And she did a collaboration with a candle company. is it last year at Christmas, I think it was, and they sold really well. She's also done jewelry with jewelry companies, and I think she's just bought this house in the Cotswolds. I think there could be a nice collaboration there with you two. She's very nice. And then I'm thinking, like, who else as well? Lorna Lux would be good for you.
Yeah.
She definitely, I feel like she's got a real strong sense of brand, and I mean, she might be very, very expensive, but I know she's just done a candle range for herself, but she's got a very good sense of brand and styling. And I think that's important as well if you're working with somebody.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
And she's professional.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. You want somebody who's nice and professional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, because you can work with some people, especially, I've spoken about this before on this podcast, but if you can get somebody who understands things from brand side, which those two people I mentioned do, then that's a marriage made in heaven, because they'll say, well, okay, what is it you're looking for? Is it more followers, or is it conversions? Is it this? Is it that? How can I add value to this campaign?
Yeah.
And if you get somebody who understands that, that's amazing. A lot of these people just go, yeah, well, I'll just throw a story up, and they think that their job is done. And they don't care about the brand.
Yeah.
They don't care about, I've had a couple of them in the past. So, I think that's important. If you can work with somebody, or collab with somebody who understands what you're trying to achieve from the get-go, that can be amazing.
And also, I think just simple stuff like not just going beyond like brand collaborations. I think there are so many kind of collaborations you see at this time of year which are just kind of soulless. We did a collaboration last week with, as I mentioned, with the Bedfolk, but then we did like why we're collaborating. We all had a joint philosophy of winding down well, which is Bedfolk's kind of brand strapline, which then works kind of in conjunction with ours in terms of like that slow living, sustainable. And then Calcutta Manor came in terms of the sense that Bedfolk fit their sheets in their manor house in terms of all the rooms. So I think having more of a soul to these collaborations is so good. But then also like product collaborations, exactly as you say, like we're doing a collaboration with a brand called Pot Candles, and we're creating a range of socks together. Hyde Hare and Pot Candles is on the socks. It has a joint belly band, and it's like, it has more of a soul. I think these level of brand collaborations, rather than just like this one's teamed up with this one and we're giving away X amount of money.
And another beauty calendar.
Yeah.
Which is like now smaller versions of single-use plastic, which is just filling the earth full of rubbish.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I totally get it.
I hate those beauty advent calendars.
Got to push the boundaries of what you think is possible, I think. And that's where I think small businesses benefit, because the White Company and, I don't know, Joe Malone probably do the same thing every year, and they just, I don't know, change the gifts in the 25 doors of their advent calendar. And I think having a smaller business just allows you to pivot and have that kind of creativity.
Yeah. Okay. So what is like the future then? Where do you see the business going in the next couple of years?
So the next 2 years is we roll out events next year, which is super exciting. So we're kind of doing all of the Spirited Christmas, the Dalesfords, all of those kind of B2C events. And then we're starting all the B2B events. So Decorex is trying to get the brand name out there. So going to kind of Maison Objet, all the interior design events and pop-ups, and trying to be just associated with the right brands to grow our brand organically. And I think then we've got certain lines that we're doing with B2Bs, kind of furniture I've spoken about. We've just released our Berber rugs, which is the most amazing project.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because I saw some incredible content coming out of Morocco from you guys, and it was just amazing. So talk to me about how this collab started. Yeah,
this is probably like the most sustainable product could ever be. I could talk for hours on this, but in essence, we went to Morocco and lived with the artisans.
How was that? Did you live in like the mountains?
We lived in their homes.
Yeah.
So it's about as authentic as it comes, and we've been working on this project for like 18 months. So to get it over the line last week was just the most amazing piece, and it really is a story of sustainability. Everything down to the wool, which is using kind of Africa's first carbon negative mill, which is just an amazing project in itself. And then we're kind of championing a new model of artisan sustainability, in the sense that the women that we're working with historically have been kind of pushed out of their trade, which they've been doing for thousands of years. These women are artisans and really have been passed down skills for generations. Mainly these women have been weaving for kind of 300 years going back in their family. unfortunately, the way that Morocco's gone is that the middlemen take advantage of these women because they're often illiterate, haven't been allowed to go to school. And the middlemen go to the women's houses, buy the rugs off them, and then sell them in the markets for basically a fraction of what they're worth. They often take kind of 6 to 8 weeks just to make a rug, all made on looms in their homes. And it's the most amazing project where we're changing the model of the artisan, whereby the women now choose the price that they sell the rug to us. And therefore, then we just add kind of our margin to cover the photography, cover the marketing, and then sell the rugs on their behalf. So we got an order for it last week, and I sent it to the artisan, and they are over the moon. I mean, they sent me, obviously speaking not English, and I sent it to my client. She was like, wow, this is it. Like, this is incredible to actually see the person who's making a rug. And it's championing a new model of sustainability, and it's so amazing to be doing something to help out these women when there is no other alternative for them.
And it's, well, you're giving them economic stability, empowering them. No, 100%. I've been to Morocco 14 times, I think.
Yeah, now. I saw you were there recently.
Yeah, I went there recently, and I've been to the Berber houses, and and
unfortunately, that's where people are getting caught, because it's the middlemen that are buying them off the women, and they're not good quality because they're like, we need to get more, we need to get more, we need to get this color. Whereas in reality, Berber rugs have been like traditionally, women have had the creative freedom to like do it part of what's in sync with their lives. The artisan, so we partner with 15 artisan collectives, and they use natural dyes of what's available at the local markets. They weave in traditional flat knot waves that their mothers have weaved. It's kind of putting the light back on the history and heritage of a Berber rug, and that's what's so exciting. But yeah, then we're competing where our rugs are 2,500-3,500, right? Because they take 60 days to make, and we're championing new model of sustainability. And then some of our competitions selling them for 400, 500 pounds. And it's so hard to kind of, as a small brand, without a huge marketing budget, to push through and kind of champion what we're trying to do with the modern day society of people kind of undervaluing heritage.
I think that is where you close the loop with the interior designers, some of the high-end interior designers who can recognize,
who have the budgets. I totally agree.
Absolutely.
And I think that's how we got onto it. It's how that's our plan. That is our plan with furniture. That's our plan with Berber rugs, to kind of pursue this this kind of level of product and this kind of level of artisanry, and then the right clients are the B2B clients, because they've got the budgets there. They've got clients that want to support sustainability. Yeah. So as much as our B2C is growing, projects like Berber rugs, which it has another level of sustainability, another level of transparency, are perfect for B2B clients. So I think that's where we're headed.
No, I completely agree. Yeah. I'm thinking like Sophie Patterson, level.
Amber interiors would be perfect. Those kind of level of, and we've luckily worked with those from our bean bags, which are a kind of £800 mark, which is kind of proven the model in my head that, right, we can push on, we can go take the products to another level, and hopefully then kind of interior designers are going to come to us again for that. But we launched a month ago. I pitched to about 60 interior designers last week. At about 2 a.m. on a Monday night, and we'll hope to hear back. So,
oh God. Well, what was I going to say? That's the other thing. Yeah, pitching to interior designers, it's exhausting.
Yeah,
and I know you're doing a bit of a raise fundraise.
Yeah,
that's also exhausting.
Fundraise is probably the most exhausting thing I've ever done. So, we didn't want to pursue that, and we kind of really wanted to raise money for the business. Now that we've kind of proven the model, we're profitable, we're growing really quickly. But that's come with real challenges for private equity and for venture capitalists. We're far too small. You've got to be doing over kind of 2 to 5 million for VCs and 10 million for private equity a year. So we're in this tricky spot where
you also don't want a boss.
Yeah, I also don't want a boss.
The reason I've shunned it all, can't even be a boss entertaining it at the moment, is because I am a real cavalier. Yeah. And I just will not have anyone telling me what to do. Yeah. You've spent what on this?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think So I think we're targeting kind of anyone who's listening. Yeah. We're targeting angel investors who kind of believe in the mission, believe in the brand. We're profitable. We've grown sustainability, and we've got a great team in place to kind of grow the brand. So It's exciting times for the next year as we kind of raise and therefore able to do more, produce more products, build on what we've done so far, and kind of the whole of the B2B business is based on we're going to have to raise to release the furniture because it's so expensive to make. So it's a necessary step for us to raise.
And what kind of furniture are you going to be producing?
A lot of pieces, I suppose, in a similar way to this, but more sustainably made.
Okay.
Probably everything that you'd like to see when you go to a ski chalet.
Okay.
We've done a lot of projects to kind of chalets where they've done beautiful ottomans, armchairs, stools, but kind of everything's upholstered in lovely shearling, which the White Company and a few other brands are doing, but just not at the level that we expect to do, what we hope to do.
Would you ever do a retail shop?
Probably similar to you. I'm such a believer, and I have been such a believer of online businesses. So we've been given a space in the King's Road in London with an interior design that we're working with. We're going to do that, but I think that's
like a pop-up.
But that's where we'll max out. I really, sad as it is to say, I just don't believe that retail spaces for small brands work. It'd be great if you're John Lewis and great if you're Selfridges, but not for independent brands like myself.
I'm seeing a little bit of a different trend coming though, because I think customers expect more. It's becoming more experiential. That's what I'm seeing. And I think if you can I tell you who's a fine example of this. Wow, what a business. And while I don't like the products, I can really understand this as like amazing. There's a makeup brand called P. Louise. Okay. And this started about 12 years ago. Because I remember thinking, God, this makeup's like, it's very heavy makeup. It was absolutely not my style whatsoever. But fair play to her. This girl is just incredible. I'd love to have her on the pod, actually. She's only in Manchester. And she recognised that her market, and she knew her market was, and it was like this real funky makeup. And it really appeals to like the young teenagers and stuff. And then she's built this incredible shop, which looks like Disneyland.
Yeah.
And you cannot get in there. It's got a carousel in it. It is like, honest to God, you should see it. And
like a Hamleys of makeup.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's got a cafe in there. And you've got to buy tickets to go in there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's the future.
So I think it is. So that experiential, Dalesford do it well.
Yeah, Dalesford do it very well. But then you're living, I think, they've got their own site. It's not really high street, but they've done the experience really well. So is Clarkson's.
Well, of course. And this is always my point. People travel to you. It's good enough, and you make that experience good enough.
Yeah.
People will travel to you. And I think that's where it's going. Yeah. So I completely agree with you about the high street. But I think because you've got to put more effort in now. Yeah. And that is the same with everything. You've got to put more effort into your customer. The customer just expects so much more. They expect those little touches. They want to, because with a product like yours, they want to see, feel it.
Yeah.
If it's all about those natural fibers, you want to experience that. You want to live your lifestyle, that slow living lifestyle.
Yeah.
You'd have a cafe in there. You'd have some food that goes nice with it. I don't know. This space is going to have to be.
Yeah.
I suppose you could have like your retail side of it, and then you could also have your storeroom, I suppose, as well. But I definitely think that would be interesting.
I totally agree, and I think creating like a brand experience in store is amazing. You'll see like brands like Carhartt and stuff have coffee shops inside there, and so do Toast inside their stores, and that is like a foot in the door. But I think with working with a few interior designers, everyone wants this kind of luxury studio space, but it does just churn money. And I sometimes, when you get offered opportunities like working in a store in King's Road for X amount per month, you're like, this is brilliant. I love it. It's going to make my brand sexy. It's going to do this. But you've got to sometimes keep your ego at the door. And I think very few business owners kind of do that. They fall in the trap of like, next level growth. This is going to be, it's like my personal brand. We're going to be in King's Road. This is like a brand thing. But you've got to leave your ego at the door and think commercial. I struggle with that.
Okay. So
especially as a young.
Yeah. So you've got to focus on profitability. I see loads of businesses doing loads of raises, and I'm thinking they're doing another raise. Wow, you're going to end up owning none of your business that you're working on. And they're just churning out rubbish products basically. Whereas I really focus on profitability. That's like my number one thing. So ego rubs like whatever. Yeah, we were in Selfridges, but that made sense because it was very low volume that Selfridges wanted. And that's why we've not really gone into retail. But otherwise, yeah, oh my God, everyone goes, oh, wouldn't you like to be in Boots? I'm like, no, I wouldn't. Like, I don't want to be in Boots because they're going to put me on the bottom shelf near the condoms. I'd rather not be there, where nobody knows anything about the bloody product and nobody's going into Boots to go and buy that.
That is true. They probably would do that, wouldn't they?
Well, they would. And they don't pay you very well. So like they've got like 90-day payment terms. And nobody's going into Boots to buy Elle-Sera. You're buying some paracetamol or a bit of makeup or this, that and the other. So the brand campaign I would have to do around putting it in Boots would be so expensive to even try and rob a customer who's not going to go to the condom section at the bottom. So
I think you'll probably get, you probably had a load of those opportunities.
Yeah, and I turned them down. Everyone thinks I'm mental.
Which is so like impressive,
yeah,
turning those things down. Like I think every brand I know would love to be in, like food brand, they'd love to be in Waitrose, Tesco, Ocado, but the margins, you just get absolutely smashed. And I don't know whether it's a good thing for your ego, whether it's a good thing for your bottom line, but...
No, I don't, it's not. Listen, it's really not, no. So I think focusing on profitability is absolutely, but then you can have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely got to be some fun money in there and also risk money. This might not work, but let's fucking give it a go because what's the cost of the cost of not doing it is not growing. And if it happens and it grows, amazing. And if it doesn't, it's been a lesson.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of that. We've done a lot of fucking that didn't work, did it? Do you know what I mean? And some of the campaigns that we've done, again, the campaigns that we do don't turn the needle in terms of conversions. And that's not why I'm doing it. It's to show where we're positioning our brand. And that's important.
Yeah.
This is what midlife looks like to our brand. Now, if you want to go and identify with that brand, great. That's for you. But this is how we see our women. And that's important to like stake our position in the market, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have an eye on a campaign for doing that. It's about the attitude you're presenting. It's about the way you're presenting the product. That's important as well to build brand. I was listening to two lads I know quite well. They used to work on my account. And they said, I don't know why anyone would spend on brand if you can't attribute it to anything. And I couldn't have disagreed with them more because if you are a D2C business and you don't have a big staff, I don't know how many people who work in your business, but let's say we rely on quite a lot of agencies and external freelancers and staff.
Same for us,
Our core team is our core team. We work full time. Then we rely on a lot of agencies and freelancers. So if you were going to exit the business, what are they buying? And if you've not spent on brand, what are they actually buying? Because they're not buying a team of people. They might be buying a bit of stock. But if you haven't spent on brand, on making the brand famous, what are they actually buying? You know, because that's why it's important to spend on brand, because you want people to know it, feel it, understand it, talk to your customer in a certain way. And even if you can't attribute it to anything, that's why it's super important.
Yeah.
Instead of just...
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's a perfect mix. I say 50% brand, 50% product.
Yeah.
But the reality is that we have to spend more on product because we need the conversions
at the moment
to be able to spend on brand.
You do. At the moment you do. But the reason, like, okay, so we've just invested loads in like, you know, our Pilates socks and our jumpers and stuff. That's spending on brand. That is free products. We're not going to get any money back for it, but that is go and wear that and go and shout about it. And that's, you know, one, we want to look after the customer, so it's a nice surprise for them. But two, everything is brand awareness. That's advertising. That we can't afford the London Underground, but I could flood the London Underground full of Elle-Sera tote bags and let everybody else walk around with them, which will come in at a significant less cost than the advertising that it would cost me on the billboards.
Sure. I mean, I saw one on your Instagram. You posted, I think you were following someone with a bag.
No, somebody found,
someone found one and sent it to you.
Yeah, there was one in Malaga Airport and my friend took a picture of it. Yeah. And I was like, well, there you go. But that only happens if you put those products out there for people to, you know.
So you don't sell those products as well, do you? No, I think that's the beauty of it, is that you can't go and buy one. I think that's the nicety around it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I do believe you have to spend on brand. You want to be the go-to.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you did a little stint at Holland and Cooper, And they, again, obviously started small. They did a lot of country fairs, if I remember right, how they started the brand. And have had crazy, unbelievable success. So that must have been a great training ground for, and give you a bit of experience in e-com as well.
Yeah. I think when I was 2 years into Hyde Hare before I did about a year and a half in Holland Cooper. And it was at the point where we got sued by Jules. So I kind of needed cash and I needed to, I think working by yourself all day, every day, you just need that. For me as like an extrovert, I needed a couple of like work friends. I needed that kind of work environment to, I suppose, just think a bit bigger. And Holland Cooper was a great brand that was on a great trajectory of growth. They had a huge growth spurt in that period when I was there, and I think they probably still are.
Yeah.
But I also learned a lot in that business. I think the huge thing was that they worked with the best agencies, probably the best UK developer. We work with the marketing and science people that everyone, Bowden, Jules, all the big companies have. I can't remember the name. I think that was, and then BAO is the best UK development agency. And these guys have retainers of 30k a month before you even start going.
Yeah.
So just the knowledge and just access to these kind of amazing agencies, I'm kind of able to translate a lot of the learnings through that, and a lot of stuff around. They give us all these appendixes of like, here's how you do your welcome flows, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. And I was kind of like, there was only 3 of us in the ecom team. So you kind of learn, you can basically take those learnings and apply it to yourself without having to pay $30,000 a month.
Exactly.
And just test it on a smaller level. So I think that really, really helps. And then I always got to the stage where it's just too busy.
Yeah.
And I had to leave. And at that point we got a fulfillment center. And then we started to grow the team from there. But it was a good learning curve, and I'm glad I did it, because you also learn that trying to scale too fast, they were releasing Holland Cooper, equestrian, ski.
Yeah.
And internally, everyone was kind of going mad because the quality of the product just went down and down and down. And Holland Cooper kind of well known for their kind of heritage tweeds.
Yeah.
And the returns were crazy.
I think that it's a masterclass in marketing. I've watched like the brand grow and develop, and I really like the styling of it and things like that. And and it's a great brand. You know what I mean? It's like you go to if you go into a country fair or
for sure
a shoot or a day walking or whatever. Yeah, it's a phenomenal success story, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's next for Hyde Hare then? So you've got your Christmas shoot, you got Christmas coming up.
Yeah, so we've got kind of the most exciting, I suppose, part for us next year is just getting the investment. We're starting all the shows in June, July, August, all the way up until Christmas. And we've got all the furniture and B2B launching next year. And then we're expanding into other natural fibers. So the vision for us is to become the home of natural fibers, and that encompassing all these amazing fibers that have been used since the dawn of time. You got kind of like linens and flaxes that have been used since 3000 BC. You've got wools that have been used since 2000 BC. And it's just kind of, for us, is adding on more fibers and becoming more of an authority in that kind of space. It's partnering with the likes of Lydia Millen if we can get those.
She would be an absolute perfect one.
Yeah, she would. But I think she's 50,000.
Yeah.
Or 60,000.
For just a brand collab.
For just a brand collab.
I think it's about 15,000 for a reel or something like that.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. We might be in a year after.
Again, she's another person who understands brand.
Yeah, she really does. I think that's why people love her as well.
She would actually, I think she would understand business. This is what we want to push. This is kind of where we're at. This is what we need to, look at how much product you'd have to sell to break even.
Yeah.
But she's got the demographic. They've got the kind of money.
Yeah. And it's also from like a D2C perspective, you can leverage that content in your paid social.
Yeah.
You can use that and pump it out to anyone who knows of Lydia Millen, and just kind of like get the brand authenticity through that, I suppose. So I think that's the next stage for us, just creating that kind of home of natural fibers through brand collaborations. We're doing one with Campaign for Wool, and just releasing more and more product. And then from like a brand perspective, I think the events are going to be great for us. It's where Holland Cooper started. It's where the likes of Fairfax and Favour built their name. And then just rolling it out and getting on the road, getting in front of people, an outlet for people to feel our products, and then working with more B2Bs and designers and working with more influencers to get the brand name out there.
Well, if anybody is interested in Hyde Hare, can we bring it up, Calvin?
Yes, we can.
Okay. We'll get it up now on screen. And you've just done some incredible water bottles, which I know I'm going to be buying lots of for Christmas presents because they look fabulous.
Oh yeah, you should see the ones that we've got.
Yeah, they look amazing. Yeah, it's so nice. Well, yeah, so if anybody wants to get on it, it's Hyde Hare. And if anybody wants to get hold of you on Instagram?
Yeah, it's at Hyde Hare, HYDANDHARE.
Fabulous. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in today and chatting to us, Piers.
Pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you so
it's been
much.
great. Thank you so much.